going on to the third part of your book, it speaks about eminent examples of martyrdom, and you include the Blessed Virgin Mary on page 69. And this might kind of tie in with the current debate on our Blessed Mother that is unprecedented. I've never seen this with the latest document. And maybe you want to explain a little bit, connect her with the martyrdom, but also do you want to just give you a few thoughts on the latest document, the doctrinal note that was issued by the Vatican?
Yes, I think it's simply, to be honest, it's sad. It leaves a deep sense of sadness. As you know, a sense that you see that your own mother had been so downplayed in her honor. So to reduce the theology and the devotion of Our Lady to a minimum. So this is an example, a display, this document of a Marian minimalism. But since the beginning, all the Christians wanted to manifest ever more their cordial, filial love to their mother, the Heavenly Mother, Mother of God, Mother of all us. And this was Catholic spirit. Of course, we have known that our Lord is God and He alone redeemed us. We were not so analphabets in theology,
Yes.
even simple people. They know to distinguish it. They were not crazy. Maybe, of course, there could be some exotic people, even with a wrong Marian devotion, but this is a minority which is not representative to the church. It was not, there was no reason to make this document because there were no abuses in this Marian devotion. I can concede that maybe some people did it, but they were not so representative. So, and reducing Our Lady from her important role in the history of salvation, in the work of the redeeming of her divine Son, which by divine providence God included the cooperation, the unique cooperation of Our Lady, different from all other cooperations in with God and with grace. She is really unique, the maternal cooperation in the work of our salvation, of course, subordinated to Christ, the new Eve, and so on. Since the beginning of the church, Saint Irenaeus of Lyon was a father of the church, doctor of the church from the 2nd century already. He formulated this phrase that Our Lady, by her obedience, by her consent to the divine will of salvation, she became the cause of salvation for herself and for the entire humanity. In strong words, causa salutis in Latin, causa salutis, for all humanity. So it's already in the 2nd century, basically, the meaning of the unique cooperation, in this sense, corredemptrix, and then the mediatrix of all graces, that she is not the source of graces. She's only transmitting. This is mediating, transmitting the graces of Jesus Christ. She is the mediator between Jesus Christ and the sinful humanity, the souls, to transmit them maternally the graces of her divine Son, the redeemed, where she cooperated in some way as a mother. And God gave her for this cooperation, motherly cooperation, a right, the privilege to distribute, to canalize all these graces. This is a common doctrine since centuries in the church by church fathers Saint Bernard of Clairvaux is a doctor of the church. Saint Alphonsus spoke on coredemptrix and on mediatrix, doctor of the church. Even the most recent doctor of the church, John Henry Newman, he also used the title coredemptrix, even he, John Henry Newman. You see, and so many popes during more or less 100 years, it's a considerable period of time where the ordinary magisterium, the popes, used it, and in some liturgical texts also, the title mediatrix, on the other cases of coredemptrix. So, and it cannot be suddenly, after these examples of the doctors of the church, of the magisterium, the pontifical magisterium, the ordinary magisterium, that it becomes suddenly inappropriate. So
Always inappropriate. That's the text they put in English.
Always inappropriate. It means then all these popes were speaking inappropriate. It is a condemnation of these popes. It's a condemnation of John Henry Newman, of St. Alphonsus, St. Maximilian Kolbe, and all. This is I think it is an abuse, this document, of power, and it is an abuse to declare all these implicitly. They declared all these church fathers and the popes as doing always inappropriate teachings. This we cannot accept. This is contrary to the nature of the church, to the nature of the doctrine. So I repeat, it is an abuse of office to make such statements. They could invite people and theologians and bishops to reflect deeper. It would be better to make a note. Let us. It is still a question which we can develop, and inviting in a synodal way.
Yes.
Hey, as they say, inviting people. Well, synodal. We have to listen. Please listen. What people and theologians think about coredemptrix, but not make a kind of hidden committee with some people in the Vatican who want to implement a minimalistic Mariology and declare de facto, implicitly, those so many popes and church fathers as speaking inappropriately always. So it is to lament, but in some way it awakened many people in the church to deeply or deeper reflect on this truth of Our Lady in her the redemption and the mediation of graces, and I think it will help to deepen this truth, and truth will remain in spite of this doctrinal note. And the doctrinal note is a low level of church document, thanks be to God. And there is no formal prohibition to use. It's only said it is inappropriate. Well, it's not a formal prohibition. Therefore, we can continue to discuss in a synodal way.
Yes. It did touch a sore chord with me. I mean, I think I didn't see ever any confusion with calling her co-redemptrix. We have one Redeemer, and Christ. It was God's will that she would be participation in redemption. And it's, I mean, 30 years it was explained pretty clear, and all of a sudden I think for me it's like the Vatican is creating this confusion. Maybe I didn't see a confusion among ordinary Catholics before this document, but anyway.
Yes, it was a kind of confusion which they, in their thoughts, I mean, it's an invented confusion for a concrete agenda. to minimize the Mariology, the role of Our Lady, to kind of minimize.
Yeah.
But we have to do reparation, even show more love for her, deepen the doctrine of co-redemptrix and mediatrix with sound arguments, and to promote more the devotion and love of Our Lady, because only a renewed Eucharistic faith, devotion, and practice and love, and a renewed Mariology and devotion and love will renew the church again.
Yes, yes.